Day is Monday. It's the day we remember those American leaders who won the White House.
Tonight in My Ohio with Leon Bibb, the story of a president who had to supply his own transportation. And Leon, he even paid for all his meals while he lived in the White House.
Oh, that is exactly what happened. You know, in this election season, presidential candidates openly say, "Vote for me, I'm best for the job," or "I'm so-and-so and I support this message." Well, in this My Ohio report, we examine an Ohioan who did not do that in his bid for the presidency. In fact, he did not campaign at all, but he won, as you shall see. These are the White House gates, open so we can stroll inside. I can get you in to find a president. Well, let me be completely truthful. These gates used to be at the White House in Washington, but when Ohio's Rutherford B. Hayes left the U.S. presidency in 1881, the White House bought new gates, so Rutherford brought the old ones to Fremont and put them in his yard. It is now the Rutherford B. Hayes Presidential Center.
His house is here, he's buried here, his library, presidential library is here, and it's all on his estate.
This is a sprawling piece of land in Sandusky County. From here, Hayes went to the Civil War, where he was wounded 5 times and hailed a hero. Back in Fremont, Ohio elected him 3 times to the governor's post. So in 1876, Republican leaders boasted he was a leader. Somebody said, "Rutherford, you ought to run for president." This is the home of Rutherford B. Hayes. He didn't campaign from here. In fact, he didn't campaign at all. In those days, thought was appear presidential. Don't say too much. Let others speak for you. And so he won.
Even if you really wanted to be president, you weren't supposed to let anybody know that you wanted to. That way you would appear like you weren't overly anxious and that you were presidential timber.
Well, that election of 1876 sounded a lot like that of 2000, when Bush and Gore fought over the Florida vote count. Same thing with Republican Hayes and Democrat Tilden of New York. Votes counted and recounted, and arguments heated and heightened for 3 months.
It took an electoral commission to be appointed to decide who got the votes of Florida, South Carolina, and Louisiana.
The 19th century custom for any president was to pay some of his keep in the White House. Hayes bought his carriage to get around Washington. Uncle Sam did not pay for a president's ride.
They were provided with a stable, but they had to pay for the food, they had to pay for the grooms and all that sort of thing for their horses.
Even at the White House, the government did not put food on a president's table.
They had to pay for all the meals. Even if they had a state dinner, they paid for that. They paid for the servants in the White House.
But he was Mr. President, having won by 1 electoral college vote. He had been the non-campaigner who stayed home on his front porch sipping lemonade while his supporters went about the country talking him to victory.
He really never put on airs about being a president. Matter of fact, he didn't like to be referred to as president. He preferred to be called Colonel or General Hayes because he served in the Civil War and he liked being a soldier the best.
Was the presidency a step down?
Maybe a little bit.
But it was a step that began in Ohio. The bodies of President Hayes and his wife are buried on the estate in Fremont. Another stop in My Ohio. By the way, 8 Ohioans have won the presidency. Hayes was number 3. Winning Ohio was considered key to any successful bid for the presidency with our population and number of electoral votes. Fact is, still is.
Certainly is. Very humble man.
Yeah, he was. He almost didn't want to be president. But he said, "I'll take it."
But he didn't turn it down, Leon. He didn't turn it down.